Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome to WildChild Records. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. We're here in our new studio, still trying to get it organized. It's been a crazy 225 so far. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, wonderful New Year's. 225 is going to start with a bang for TDC as we're very excited as we have two production teams and media teams on the go. We have them on the go, so they're going to be going down to Louisiana Purchase for the Super Bowl. We're going to be there for the 9th year in a row on Media Row. Myself and Dave Stevens, we're going to rock the house. Again, we're very excited. It's going to be super exciting, worldwide event, and we're going to showcase abilities. We're going to showcase our employment programs for veterans and persons with disabilities. And then we're hopping on a plane and we're going to go to British Columbia, BC, as we're going to be part of the Evictus Games for the veterans. Evictus Games 225, Whistler, BC, with Prince Harry. Isn't that exciting? So we're going to be out there doing the media. We're going to be doing interviews. We're going to be at all the venues. We have great support from BC. I want to give a big shout to Big Records, Mark and Tim. They're going to be there with me. They're going to be supporting us. We're going to be bringing out a crew. And guess what? We're going to be doing a February 2nd fundraiser in White Rock, BC at Legion 8. And on the show, after the break, you're going to meet one of the headliners. Stay tuned. You're watching WildChild Records. We'll be right back.
This is the Disability Channel telling you to check out Nova Scotian country singer Fraser Newcomb. Blending his own brand of Canadian country and often brandishing his signature lobster-shaped guitar, Fraser Newcomb is a bold new face in the country music scene. Check him out today.
Welcome back to the show. Very excited to introduce our guests. On the show today, we have Shalaine Stebner and her drummer, Jimmy Gardner, on the show. Thanks for being on the show today, guys. Very exciting.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
This is great. Now, I think you might have a little bit of a camera problem with your camera there, Shay, but that's okay. It's live production. Again, right now, we're live on our Facebook page, the Disability Channel. So if people want to tune in, comment, interact, we will love it because we're an interactive platform, right? We're all about supporting the community. So we got so much to talk about. And later in the show, probably coming up in about 25 minutes, we have a special guest on. We have from the legendary rock and roll band Sweet. We have the superstar drummer coming on. We have Richie Onori coming on. This guy is just a ball of fire. He is wonderful. He knows everybody in the industry, played with everybody in the industry, and is such a generous soul. We're so excited to have him on. He's got a great team with Kurt and Sue and Jesse and John and all the guys down there and Ron. A couple of weeks ago, we had on Ron Alexenberg, legendary producer, one of the producers on the Thriller album with Michael Jackson. Very well in tune with Richie Onori and Fana. Check out Fana. So again, that's later in the show. But again, I want to welcome Shay and Jimmy to the show. So guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Thanks for having us.
Now, Shay, I know we've interviewed a few times, so why don't I lay it out and you can introduce your very valuable drummer to our guests, to our audience.
Sure. So if anybody had watched the previous show, we had my dad on, who was my original drummer. And then at the beginning of 2024, he said, I'm not really, like, he's got sore shoulders and he's a truck driver. And so he was kind of wanting to back out a little bit. And And Jimmy had been to one of my shows previously, and he had expressed interest in wanting to play. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, you can play for sure. But then he kind of just we kind of stayed in touch. And then when Dad said that he didn't needed to step back, then I messaged Jimmy and I said, hey, do you still want to play? And he was like, well, yeah. And I said, when are you coming to Alberta? And he said on a certain date. And I said, great, we have 5 days after you get back, and then we have a show. And he stepped up to the occasion, and he did absolutely fantastic, and he rocked it. And we've never looked back. It's been an absolutely fantastic, phenomenal addition to the band.
That is great. Now let me like what popped off the page right away is the logistics. Like Jimmy's in Texas
Mm-hmm.
and you're in Alberta, and it's funny because Texas and Alberta, like, you want to compare the closest to each other, it's Alberta and Texas. Like, oh, they're almost the same. So, but Jimmy, tell us that dynamics. How does that work?
I am married to a Canadian, and she spent a lot of her adult life in Alberta. So we have friends there, and we used to visit all the time. And then we decided to buy a home in Alberta, and I am fortunate that I can spend most of my summers in Alberta. So I spend my winters down here in Texas and go up to Alberta for the summer.
That explains everything. There you go. So what happens if you have a tour come wintertime? I guess you're leaving Texas.
Yep.
How long, like, do you drive or do you fly?
It depends. Like, if I'm just going up for a week or so, I'll fly. But when I go for the summer, I load my camper and my dogs and my motorcycle, and off I go. And it's a 35-hour drive, and I can usually do it in 2.5 days.
35-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I want to get back to the music. So Shay, maybe you can tell me this, the biggest difference in drummers between your dad and Jimmy. And I don't mean the talent wise. I just mean, like, what's the biggest difference you notice?
So my dad, I mean, he played for more of his life than he did not. So he just played, like, if it was a 4/4 time, he would just play, the same beat. Whereas Jimmy wants to play how it's recorded and put it in the breaks of the songs, because we do a lot of covers. So however the cover has been recorded, he listens to that and he tries to mimic how it is. And that was very different for me, because I'm just used to just like kicking it off and let's go. And then he was like, well, this is how it's played on the recording. So shall we kind of stick to that kind of beat so that we can, make it at least recognizable. And so,
And was is that like a little bit more, is that Jimmy, is that maybe a little bit more detailed, or how would you describe that?
Well, I spent most of my music career playing in cover bands, and when you play cover bands, you always try to resemble what's recorded on the record as close as possible. So yeah, I think that's just the way I learned coming up. And then when I hear these things, and then when she does recordings, and I want to do it, I want to make her music sound like it does, that everybody hears it when it's recorded.
So when you guys aren't in the same studio, or how do you guys go about practicing? Do you just practice obviously on your own, or do you do any technology online? Like, do you guys do any stuff like that? Any rehearsals online or stuff like that?
She sends me the stuff and I work on it, and then we'll get together at go time and run through some stuff,
and whatever happens.
Whatever happens.
And the rest of the band members are in Alberta, Shay?
Yeah.
They're in Alberta. So tell us about how have you guys started thinking about February? Let me set up February 2nd, and then we can talk about it. And then I think soon we're gonna bring in Richie. So so on February 2nd, the Disability Channel will be out in White Rock, BC at Legion number 8 for a Sunday afternoon matinee, trying to raise funds, awareness, and obviously a lot of entertainment for the Disability Channel employment program, as we would like to have an employment program pilot out in BC for veterans and persons with disabilities, but this is more focused towards veterans, and we're going to be trying to intertwine the Invictus people at the Invictus Games, as we're part of that. I know it's a busy time, but and big records. Shay, why don't you tell us who the list is, if you have the list there, or maybe some of the bands that you can remember, including yourself, who's going to perform? I'm putting you on the spot.
For sure not putting me on the spot at all. I know Brandy Wine is going to be there. Tara Kai is going to be there. Fraser Newcomb is going to be there. What is it? Agent
Special Agent
Sunshine?
Sunshine, I
Special
think.
Agent Sunshine. And then, of course, my most favorite burly man in the whole entire world, Tim Steinreck, is going to be there as well.
Awesome. And I think, and Brian Zylo, I think, is
Yep.
actually, he's going to be one of the headliners, and he's a homegrown right from White Rock. So this is going to be exciting. We do fundraisers on an ongoing basis here in Toronto. So this will be our first one out of province. I want to give a big shout out to Big Records and Mark for thank you, and Barry, because we also have a live stream. So actually you can go on our Facebook page, which we're live right now. We'd love to have you guys interact, and you can purchase the Hive Music live stream. It's a very high-end technology. This gentleman, he's so high-tech. Well, I guess where he lives, he's from San Francisco, right? He's high-tech, right? He's all about Silicon Valley and all that. So he's got this system that we're going to stream it live around the world. It's a $10 fee, and all the donations, again, our tickets at the door, everything is going to go towards our employment program, so we can offer opportunities to our heroes and help them transition from the battlefield to the workforce and get a job and have another purpose in life. So we're very excited about that. I know BC, White Rock, the community has stepped up. I believe the Chamber of Commerce bought 25 tickets alone. So this is really cool. So we want to give a big prop to all the businesses out there. We're going to showcase them. We're going to give them shout outs on our Sirius XM radio show. I want to thank Tara, and I'm going to get the name of the hotel chain, because they have been kind enough to step up and provide accommodations for the Disability Channel while we're out there. So yeah, including a dog accommodation. I'm a dog lover, so that's very keen. So tell us what you guys have going on between now and the second, if we can showcase anything, because I think we're going to take a break after that, and then we're going to bring on Richie if he's ready. If not, we'll just continue on. So do you guys what are you doing to prep for the second?
Well, Jimmy's not coming, unfortunately, which makes me sad. But we're just using Tim Steinreck's band. So really, there's not a whole lot of going on until we get out there. I am lucky enough to get to take a couple of weeks off so I can spend time with my kids and my husband, and my kids. Like, we go skating, we go swimming. You know, we kind of do all of the typical Alberta stuff. So, but as music wise, it's just a bunch of solo practicing.
That's great. So, Jimmy, tell us a little bit, because I think we're going to take a quick break soon. But tell us a few of your inspirations on behind the kit there. Who do you really look up to?
All the usuals, of course. John Bonham, Chad Smith has always been one of my go-to guys, and Neil Peart. There's
Neil Peart, yeah.
Long.
And what's your is country your preferred genre, or you don't really? It doesn't really matter.
I'll play just about anything.
Just about anything?
I'm not a double bass metal guy, but I'll play just about anything below that.
That's great.
We brought Sweet Child of Mine. Don't for a minute.
On the show today, we have Shalaine Stebner and Jimmy Gardner. They're going to be performing. Well, Shay's going to be performing out at our February 2nd fundraiser for veterans, showcasing employment opportunities, showcasing music, showcasing the Invictus Games, and of course, showcasing wonderful British Columbia. Do you get out there much, Shay, at all?
Yeah, my sister lives in BC, so I get out there at least once a year, at least.
And what's that, a couple hour drive, or what? How long is it?
It's about 10.
10-hour drive, still 10 hours.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so you're watching WildChild Records. Stay tuned. We're going to be back, and hopefully we're going to be bringing on a special guest, Richie Onori from the band Sweet 70 The Legend Band. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with WildChild Records.
This is the Disability Channel telling you to check out pop rock group Brandywine from Seattle, Washington. If you're a fan of pop, rock, R&B, and blues, then Brandywine has a little bit of everything you need to get the party started.
welcome back to the show. And on the show, we have superstar drummer from the band Suite. We have Richie Onori. Richie, thanks for being on the show today.
Welcome. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
This is great. Now, you're really excited. We have a drummer. I want to introduce you to Jimmy. He's a drummer all the way from Texas, and we have his lead singer, Shalaine Stebner. Now, she's up in Alberta, and they're going to be performing at her February 2nd fundraiser out in BC. So we thought, because Jimmy and his band was nice enough to provide a wonderful silent auction gift. Check it out on her website. Super exciting. We had to bring on Richie and just introduce you to Jimmy and Shay. I'm going to hand the mic over to Shay, and then Jimmy can jump in and just ask Richie whatever you want, Shay.
Well, I mean, so you are touring and doing all of the great stuff that you get to do when you're a rock star. How do you handle downtime? What is downtime to you?
There's never downtime. There's always recording. There's always something going on. And I have a nonprofit that keeps me busy too. There's a million things I'm always doing. There's no downtime with me. I'm ambitious.
Oh, good. Because my husband always blames me because I don't ever have downtime. I'm like, I don't think there is such a thing. So thank you.
Jimmy, you want to jump in?
Yeah. If you could give some advice to a guy that's obviously not as status as you are, but like to get there someday, what can you offer?
I think it's just listening to all kinds of music. I started off in rock bands, but then I got into jazz, and I think jazz helps your chops.
Yeah.
And what it does for a rock drummer is you're able to express yourself. Not that it's fully needed. I mean, playing rock is playing rock, but still, for me, where I'm at, I was influenced by great jazz players, but also it was a combination of listening to like Ian Page from Deep Purple or Mitch Mitchell, where they used their chops to be able to do more than just basically keeping a beat.
Thank you.
Hey, Richie, can you do me a favor and just brag a little bit and tell us about Fana and tell us a few juicy stories, because that's what it's all about. And our Facebook page is blowing up, so it's live. So I'm sure there's a lot of people watching. So tell us about Fana, because I know that's very close to your heart. I know you do wonderful things for the community, and you have so many great associates. And then a little story for us.
Well, music as us as musicians, we live society, and part of my mission is we all have purpose, and that purpose goes way beyond anything as far as building a new better culture. Music is able to give you really that if we had more musicians out there, the world wouldn't be in trouble. There's a lot of musicians, but it needs to be a united front. People for New America and really the world, we have quite a few committees that we're building at the time. We're focusing on veterans this year, and that's where Jay really comes in. We just did the Unity, Peace, and Freedom Festival in Warner Center with some of the biggest names, it was my brainchild. I pulled it off, and it was really start of something new. And it was basically we had multicultural. We had an interfaith segment from 10 o'clock to 11:30 where all the races and religions came together. See, musicians are colorblind. I mean, and most people are. 80% of the people, even though the media likes to paint this picture that it's not that way, bottom line, most of us in society can be unified. And that's what the position of Unity, Peace, and Freedom Festival, and that's why we're marching in to the new year with Jay, the Disability Channel, everything that we're doing. We have a telethon in the works at the end of March, a documentary of birth of a movement. We're going into 25. We have 60 hours of footage from that. which I've been in San Diego just editing like crazy with this incredible thing. But we had acts like Scott Page from Pink Floyd. He was the sax player, and he had Steve Perkins on drums, and all the top musicians in that Pink Floyd band, as well as my band Sweet played. And then I have a solo career called the Blues Angel, and I have a 10-piece band. And a lot of the songs that I do involves about, conveying certain messages, and that's what we all can do with music. So with that, my background goes in with, I started very young. I've never stopped playing music, and I play guitar. I'm a lead vocalist as well. And but working with, before I got into 20 years ago, almost 2 decades ago, I joined Sweet. Steve Priest. We played actually a festival. For Katrina, and I had played with Steve Priest, the bass player for Sweet, and the original drummer passed away, Mick Tucker, and when he heard me play, he said, "Wow, you play like Mick." Well, Mick was also the studier. He studied same guys I just mentioned, and we had the same kind of chops, and he came out of retirement to put what he felt was the real Sweet, what he wanted to do for a long time. He retired, I think, in like the middle of the 80s. So before that, that day that we played, I played with Slash, Lukather, Steve Lukather. I was Howard Leese from Hard, who I produced a lot of things. I was in a band, Heaven and Earth. I was the drummer for Keith Emerson for a couple years, and Brothers Johnson, Lewis Johnson, Larry Graham. Being in LA, I knew I was at the right place at the right time. And I played with Jolyn Turner and Dio and everybody you could ever imagine. I played with the greatest vocalists, the greatest bass players on earth. And so it gave me the ability to, I was in a rare opportunity. I was in a big progressive band in the late 70s with a lot of heavy guys that came out of that band. And so that's why I hit it off with Keith Emerson, is because I could play all that stuff, all the signatures, all the time signatures. I had the jazz background. And, moving into guitar, I was a huge Hendrix fan. And that's the way I play guitar. I don't like to be limited in any genre. So a lot of my music that I create is, I like to keep each song different. I won't keep on repeating that same formula, even though the blues is the common sound. See, the blues relates to the common man. So that's always my thing. And then I realized as a vocalist, I'm a blues singer.
Jimmy, let me jump
work
in
with
for a
Kelly
second,
Hansen.
Richie. Let me jump in. So you
and all these things.
Let me jump in for a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned Lukather, right?
Lukather.
Yeah, like how good? Tell us about that name. Like how good that person is.
Oh, Lukather's a monster. I got a call from Bobby Kimball that I had to do a show with Toto, with his version of Toto, in 3 days.
Wow.
With no rehearsal. I had to play a 10,000 seater.
Wow.
I had to learn the whole Toto set. And I did Jeff Porcaro's drum video. I was the musical director on that, who's the drummer of Toto. So here I am, and I have to learn all the Toto stuff. And we played that show, and I was with Bobby for 2 years. I toured with Bobby. So it just goes to show you that if you're trained on your instrument and you really focus. So when I played with Lukather and all these guys,
I say this is what I'm saying. People right here, this is gold, Richie. What you're sharing, like your musical experience, this is what people want to hear. Like to mention his name, to play with him, to mention Toto, Paul Rod, like all the greats, and to be in LA. Why don't we do this? I think this is very important for our viewers. Why don't we take a break? And if Richie, if you're able, we'll come back and maybe give us an update on the LA fires, if you know, only because you're down there. So stay tuned, everybody. You're watching WildChild Records. We have a very special show today. We have 3 musicians on the show. We have Shay Stebner, we have Jimmy Gardner, we have superstar drummer Richie Onori. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with WildChild Records.
the only way. Love is the only way. Love is the only way. Take a breath. Let it be alright. Take a breath. Let it be enough right now. Let this moment be what it is. Let this moment be your doorway to bliss. Seeking love, 'cause it's seeking you.
Welcome back to the show. Before I ask Richie for an update, I just want to give everybody a little update regarding the Sirius XM and our pals there. They've been so supportive. Right now, we have a proposal hopefully going through where we're going to be expanding on Sirius XM, talking about what we're talking about today. We're going to be focusing on musicians, entertainment, which would be film and television, and music and sports. And we're going to be bringing on individuals like Richie who have such a lengthy resume. And we're going to be sharing life experiences through music, sport, and entertainment. So regarding the disability and ability communities, right? Because everybody's touched somehow, some way. Everybody knows somebody who has an illness, who needs support, who has a disability, who needs support, who has overcome an obstacle. And this is what the show is going to be all about. So what you're doing right there, Richie and Shay and Jimmy, I really appreciate it. So Jimmy, Richie, I don't know if you're able, but if you're able to give us an update with the LA fires, please do. It's just horrible.
Well, it's calming down for right now. The winds are going to pick up again, but that's just the way it is. It's always been a problem in Los Angeles. So you have these fires. It consumed 9,000 houses in the Pacific Palisades right near PCH. So it's like a bomb went off. They couldn't get enough water in that area. There's a lot of finger pointing right now. Last night I'm at my daughter's right now because we were evacuated, and they shut the power off. And so
Wow.
Basically, it's also fire management, being able to clear out the forest, being able to brush clearance. I mean, those are the things that have to be really handled. And they don't do that. I mean, there's plenty of budgets in the world to throw a lot of money at everything else. But the important things that we need really, you see this, look at how many people have died. It's wiped out just whole neighborhoods like never before. We had these fires before. But we wouldn't have it in this magnitude right now. So there's something, there's cuts in budgets. It's not right what just happened.
Well, we send you our prayers
so
and
we're
thoughts
in
and all
a
that,
position,
Jimmy, right? Like from around the world, everybody just sort of just watch it. Just hopefully everybody, safe as they can be. Before we let you go, I think I'd ask Shay if you have one more question for Richie and then also Jimmy. And then before we let you go, I'm going to give Jimmy tell us a little bit more where they can find more information on Fana and his career. So Shay, ask one more question.
Okay, so where's your favorite place to play? Now I'll precurse it with, I know you're playing in Alberta and in February, so that's really exciting. But where has been your most favorite place to play? And not just with this band suite, just in general.
That's really hard. I mean, what I really enjoyed. I was in Jay's area at Sobe Stadium there just recently with UB40 and Bachman Turner Overdrive, and that was a really nice place to play. We've toured with Journey, we've done South America, we've done so many different things, and so when you're playing those massive places, a lot of times it can be the small clubs. I played the other night in San Diego. I got up, played guitar, did the Blues Angel music, and then I got up and played drums. And it's just sharing with people what your ability is. I've always said, and I'll cut it short, we're gifted with certain gifts, skill sets. And I was gifted with the skills. I can't do a lot of things like a lot of other people are. So it's just taking our gift of what we have and sharing it with people.
Thank you. Jimmy?
After all these years, what motivates you to keep doing what you're doing? Because you've played just about everywhere you can play with everybody you can play with. What's your motivation to keep you strong and keep you playing?
It's the joy of seeing people just getting off in the audience. That's one. For my situation with FANA, People for a New America, it's my purpose. And I know that the message of music needs to be really, what really has to happen is that we really have to lift society. 80% of the people out there want to lift society, 20% want to tear it down. So they can go play their games, or we basically isolate those people while we could build just a beautiful civilization. So that's my motivation. It's called purpose.
That's great, guys. Now, Richie, if people want to find out more about FANA and what you got going on, where could they go if they want to donate, if they want to support? Where could they go for you?
Well, Kurt's on this. He can put it in the chat.
Okay.
You go to PFANA, so People for a New America. It's the acronym. It's like PFANA.
Excellent.
USA.org.
That's great, guys. Well,
PFANAUSA.org.
excellent. We really appreciate you being on today. Hopefully everybody had a good time. I know our Facebook page is blowing up, so please do comment. We'll comment back. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to come back and wrap the show with a couple of TDC updates. So I really thank you guys for being our guest today.
Honored to be here.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is the Disability Channel telling you to check out country singer Dan Wesley White from Del Rio, Texas. Dan is a U.S. Army veteran who blends his experiences with a unique mix of Tex-Mex, Texas swing, rock, and country influences. If that sounds up your alley, check out Dan Wesley White today.
Welcome back to WildChild Records. I felt like a fan today. This was great. I love having Richie on. I love having Shay. And Jimmy. I love combining legendary rock stars with independent rock stars. Like, it's great. We're coming together, right? We're coming together. I love the way Shay said, oh, you're going to be up here in Alberta, so I know we're going to get some support. We're going to be doing some cross-border get-togethers, you could say. So before I let you guys go, I do want to say again, if you want to support our February 2nd fundraiser, our link is on our Facebook page. It's also on Big Records. It's on Hive Music. I want to give a couple big shout outs. I want to say, hey, I look forward to sitting down with the Toronto Film School next week. That's going to be kind of exciting. Toronto Film School. Big shout out to CHCH and RBC. Of course, big shout out to Scott and Jenny at the Invictus Games. We're going to get out there. Hopefully we'll get a chance to interview Prince Harry. That would be great for the channel. That would be great for the world if we could do that. Hey, if you want to donate, check out our affiliate, Veteran House Alliance International. It's our charitable platform where all the proceeds go towards our employment programs for veterans to help them transition and give them a new purpose in life and get a job in the media. We love that. We love our job. We're going to be doing some QR code things in the near future, working with seniors. Hey, guess what? On February 20th, when I get back from the Invictus Games, the Disability Channel is going to be sitting down with the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford. He's a huge supporter of the Disability Channel for the last 6 years, as he is our business partner. Well, the Ontario government's our business partner for our employment program. So we're going to be at Queen's Park for a one-on-one sit-down with Mr. Ford, the Premier of Ontario. It goes a long way, as I've interviewed his brother, Rob Ford, before he unfortunately passed away. I interviewed Rob twice, and I tell you, Rob was so supportive of the channel. He was a really nice guy. Give us time all the time. I talked to him. So the tradition continues. So thank you, Mr. Ford. We really appreciate that. If people want to get more involved in the Disability Channel, you can go to www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. And we do have a new cohort of employment programs starting later this month, I believe. So enroll today. It'll change your life. Again, I'm Jay Stoyan. Thank you for watching Wild Child Records. We'll see you next time.
Audio Jungle.